Thank you, Madam President. I rise in support of this budget. I know that a significant amount of work went into this and a lot of labor, and I want to, first of all, extend my well wishes and thanks to Kathy for doing such a yeoman's job and for exemplifying strong leadership, and also to John Fanfara, Senator Fanfara, for your work on this, and to Senate leadership and to the ranking that worked very hard to try to give us a balanced budget. I want to first talk about issues that's really important to me and issues that I see that's being addressed through this budget, and it is around education. I know we tell our kids that they can become whatever it is that they want to become if they're willing to work hard and to put in hard work. But oftentimes what we see is that the doorway to opportunity is not equitable, and that not every child across our state receive the constitutionally adequate education that our Constitution provides for them. But I think that this budget attempts to address and to attempt to alleviate some of these barriers to education. I truly believe that education is the gateway to opportunity, and that it is the doorway to helping individuals not only be successful for themselves, but to lift themselves and their family from the bitter grip of poverty. This budget, as I've heard loudly whispered by some, said that this budget is a social handout, and I want to reject that notion to say that this budget is not a handout, but provides individuals with a hand up so that they can provide for themselves and for their families. This budget attempts to address the most vulnerable in our communities, and it helps to level the playing field, especially for hard-to-reach populations. And I'm proud to serve and represent a district that is on the margins. This budget also provides Connecticut with relief, as funds will increase the state support not only for education, but it provides tax cuts for thousands of residents in the state of Connecticut. The budget passed today includes the first personal income tax cut in Connecticut in nearly 30 years. That is something that all of us should be proud that we worked hard to do. It focuses on a broad base of Connecticut's middle class. This new budget also expands the income tax credit for Connecticut's working poor from 30.5% of the federal earned income tax credit to 40%, helping over 200,000 families across the state of Connecticut. On the spending side, this budget also addresses our local school districts, which I think are the winners in this budget, with over $300 million more in education cost sharing. It also expands what's so important to me. The other night I talked about having the opportunity to work for Congressman John Lewis, and he was very passionate about voting rights. And this budget helps to expand early voting, which I think is critically important, especially for individuals who have been historically and traditionally disenfranchised in this country. It sends a resounding message in the state of Connecticut that we believe that every person who is eligible to vote have a right to vote, and we extend the ballot box to them so that they can choose their representatives to represent them in a representative democracy. So I'm very proud about that work. The last thing that I will say in reference to this budget is that oftentimes when I'm walking in the community in Bridgeport, I come to recognize that over 1,000 members return back to the community after having been incarcerated in our Connecticut incarceral system. And these individuals find a very difficult time getting back on their feet after being locked away, many of whom have been arrested, locked away for 20, 30 years, and they come back to a community they don't recognize. They come back to a family that don't recognize them, and they're trying to find a way to find a job or to get into a career or to find housing. And there are so many impediments to entry. And I think that this budget is also going to help these individuals so they can take advantage of the 100,000+ jobs that we have in the state of Connecticut that needs to be filled with their talent. And I appreciate this group of individuals being taken into consideration. So once again, thanks to each and every person who worked very hard, even behind the scenes, on coming up with a comprehensive budget that I think is holistic, and it takes into consideration all of the many factors that and the complexities that make up this state. Thank you.